All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to talk some college hoops. The Final Four is set. We have the women's bracket games tonight. We have the men's this weekend on Saturday. So, this is my last chance to sort of talk about college basketball before we get a victor for both the women's and men's bracket. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment them down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. Now, if you don't know, the Final Four is the last four teams. That means two games left for this portion of the bracket. And then on Sunday, April 6th, we get the final game um, for the women's. And April 7th, we get the final game for the men's. Just so everybody is on the same page. I'm gonna try to pick my favorites to win it all. I'm gonna tell you my favorite teams. I'm gonna tell you my favorite players. We're gonna get into some other news as well. But yeah, let's just hop right into it. So the first game tonight on the women's side, we're gonna start with the women's, ladies first, and then we'll go to the men's side of the bracket, or the men's. What's it called? The men's bracket itself. We'll do it that way. First game, the early game tonight. Texas at not at Tech. I'm used to saying at so much. Texas versus South Carolina. Both very um, talented schools. The last game, well, let's dive into each game. The last game, both these teams played, Texas and South Carolina. The last game Texas played was against TCU. They won the game by 11 points, 58 to TCU's 47. Obviously, some of these games will be very low scoring, just for the record. I'm not going to dive too deep into any of these teams really, but I will talk about what I think um, the deciding factor in these games were and the games that are happening tonight. So yeah, for TCU, I think they had a great run to get this far. I think was an accomplishment. Obviously, you have the social media powerhouse in Haley Van Lith, who probably doesn't make it to the next level. Probably doesn't make it to the WNBA. I could see a team taking a chance on her, but she's very talented, and she has been around the college game for a long time. She was she was in Arizona. She was in Louisiana for LSU, and this was her final year of eligibility for TCU. So she's done. Um, I really like the way she plays. She was the biggest name on this roster. Um, Her stats overall this season were 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Pretty decent stuff. She stands at 5'9" though. And at a certain point, you can only take your team so far when you're working with so little and you are also so challenged height wise. Um, and she did all she could. I mean, in this game alone against Texas, she had 17 points, um, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. She had 7 turnovers though. Did not shoot the ball well, so that was their season. For Texas, man, Texas got a big game out of Madison Booker, who I like personally. Number 35. She's she's a forward. Yeah. Sometimes it's so hard to tell in these women's games unless they're abnormally tall. I'm like, what position are they playing? um, I like this Texas team a lot. Although going up against a huge powerhouse like South Carolina, who has a at this point a prolific coach in Dawn Staley, who was a WNBA player herself, has coached this team in South Carolina to a new stratosphere. every time this time of year comes about, I'm always like, is this the last run for South Carolina? Because she's been doing this for a long time now. I think, what is it? She took over pre 2020, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken. So she's been doing this almost 5 years, and she signed a huge extension um, to coach this team for a bunch of more years. And every time I see a team, is this the last time they're going to be here? And it's never the last time. The last game for South Carolina was against the Duke Blue Devils, the Lady Devils, we'll call them. Um, I ne- I never bet against South Carolina. I think that this game was decided by 4 points, and watching this game was a crazy watch because Duke did have a if I can go to the play by play here, Duke did have uh, they were putting up a fight. They were going back and forth for a long time. Um, Even in the third quarter, they didn't break 30 points till about almost halfway through the third quarter. So they were going back and forth with this South Carolina team. I am always impressed with what South Carolina does. Um, what players they just pull out of nowhere, and suddenly they're like the biggest name on the team. I mean, one name that pops out to me is Cole Kittles. Um, this game against Duke, their last game they played, 14 points, 4 rebounds. Um, let's see, 2 turnovers, took a three, made a three. Didn't do a lot in the what was this in 3 point land, but took a bunch of free throws. Had the most free throws out of both teams, and played 33 minutes. So um, I say all that to say Texas versus South Carolina, the early game tonight. Again, I'm not gonna bet against South Carolina. So give me South Carolina tonight to have a chance to win a national championship again and play on Sunday. The other game that's happening tonight, the late night game, UConn at UCLA. This game, I don't want to say I'm far more invested in this game, but this is a huge game. This is an absolutely monster game. Um, I think I'm gonna say this right off the top because I'm gonna go back and forth this whole segment. I think UConn will probably, I'd say about 80% chance win this game. Right? They'll probably win this game. They beat USC Trojans in their last game, 78 points to the Trojans 64. The Trojans were without Juju Watkins, um, and they got a game from Marshall. They got a game from Afrani, 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 Kiki. Jesus, they got a game from Kiki. They just have enough firepower to stop the well coached UConn Huskies. I mean, Paige Beckers had a 30 bomb. 4 of 8 from three, 9 of 18. Paige Beckers is on the left side of your screen if you don't know. Um, this team is well coached. They are seasoned. And this is Paige Becker's last chance. This is her last year of eligibility. She confirmed that she is going to the WNBA, so this is her last chance to get a national championship. Um, they have a lot of good guard play. They have a lot of good guard play. Now, if Paige Beckers has a bad game, it makes me wonder who's going to step up. Obviously, you have Shara Strong, who came up big in this USC game, pardon me, with 22 second leading scorer this game um, for the Huskies. But on the other side, you have the UCLA Bruins, who I've always liked UConn. UConn has put out a lot of NBA talent, a lot of WNBA talent. Um, but UCLA has won me over this year. Uh, when I've had the chance to watch their games, Lauren Betts, the big in the middle, um, screams pro talent to me. Screams pro talent, and the job their coach has done. I forget her name right now, and let's see if I can find it for you guys. Found it. The UCLA coach Corey Close has done an amazing job this year, um, making adjustments, especially in these last couple games. Um, all right, sorry about that. I had to make sure I had the right game up. I hope I didn't read any of the box score yet. um, as I was saying about the UCLA coach, done a great job this year. Um, the last game they played was against LSU. LSU, um, national championship winners. Was it? It wasn't last year. It was the year before that. Um, they're a very good team as well. I was hopeful that UCLA would beat them, and they did. Um, LSU was a very, I won't say talented team, but um, hardworking team, and they pulled stuff out of nowhere, but couldn't do it against UCLA. And I think I think LSU's coach Kim Mulkey got out coached, and that's what this game is going to be. Um, this next game, the UConn Huskies versus UCLA Bruins. It's gonna be it is gonna be a lot of the players. It's gonna be adjustments, and it's gonna be coaching most of all, in my opinion. And I would like to see UConn at least get to the final game um, on Sunday. But I think it would be such a great story if UCLA made it. Now, my with that being said, my prediction, my preferred preference is UConn versus South Carolina on the women's side of things. That's my preferred matchup. I think that'd be absolute cinema, right? It'd be South Carolina with Dawn Staley coaching versus UConn's Gino Auriemma coaching. Um, it'd be South Carolina's team mentality and all that stuff versus Paige Beckers and the UConn crew. That'd be my preferred matchup. I think it would be great if we see UCLA versus South Carolina though. I think that'd be good. So on the early night game tonight, I have South Carolina winning. Um, the late night game tonight, UConn versus UCLA. Um, oh man, I'm gonna pick UCLA. I have to pick UCLA. I'm gonna pick the underdog. So the final that will be on Sunday. My prediction is South Carolina versus UCLA. That would be my prediction. Now to move to the men's side of things that's happening tomorrow. The early game would be Florida versus Auburn. The late night game is Houston versus Duke. Let's get into Florida versus Auburn first. Um, to me, this side of the bracket is a little more clear cut, at least just watching the games and optically. Um, I think I really like it's sort of the same situation as on the women's side of things, where I think the first game we're going to talk about, Florida versus Auburn, I think Florida has it. I think that's not an easy win, but it's more clear cut. And then the bottom one, the late night game, as I'm looking at the bracket here, Houston versus Duke. Houston is going to give Duke a run for their money. Um, I am. I've been worried about Duke all year. But we'll get to that. Let's talk about Florida versus Auburn and the Gators and stuff. Um, the Florida Gators. Um, I haven't watched them that much. I'm going to be completely honest. Um, I did catch a bit of their last game, Texas. Tech versus Florida, and in this game, it was a team effort from Florida. They have Walter Clayton Jr. with 30 points. They have Thomas Hugh, yeah, with 20. Um, and they didn't even shoot the ball well. Thomas is the only one that had a positive 3-point percentage here, and they shot 37 as a team. To Texas Tech's 37 as well. So it was sort of a battle um, of just attrition, and I I think when it comes down to that, Duke does have some of that, but at times, or I should say, comparatively to Duke and Houston, I think Florida's, I don't want to say the best team left, but like I'd say the grittiest team left. We'll put it that way. How about that? I think Florida has this one against Auburn. Let's talk about Houston versus Duke because I'm just fumbling over my words and I really want to get to this game. Um, Duke obviously has Cooper Flag on the right side of your screen right now. Um, they've been on it all year. Um, Cooper Flag leads them in 4 statistical categories: um, points, rebounds, assists, steals. Um, they have a very well rounded team. Whenever I feel like they're missing something or they need something, somebody on this team does it. Cooper Flag, Con Knuppel, Tyrese Proctor, Mala Watch. Um, they just have a very deep team. And I don't want to say they're not gritty, but when Cooper Flag isn't out there or Mala Watch is in foul trouble, they lose a lot of their defensive identity. And if if Duke loses any of those guys or loses both of those guys to foul trouble or anything, or I'd be very concerned about facing Houston tomorrow night. But with that being said, so we have Florida. I have Florida going to the final game, and then we have to decide between Duke and Houston. I think I th- I think the better game would be Florida versus Houston. I think that's the better game, personally. But I think if Duke shows some real grittiness against this Houston team, they can beat Florida. So and Cooper Flag is the biggest name left in this tournament or the men's side of the tournament, but he I would not be surprised if Cooper puts together in these last 2 games, obviously permitting if he wins the one tomorrow night. Um, if he puts together 2 great games, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. Um, so I think I think it's gonna be Florida versus Duke on Monday night. After they both win their respective games um, tomorrow night. So yeah, that is the men's and women's side of things. Um, this is gonna be this weekend and going into Monday. It's gonna be a great freaking weekend. Um, I'll be watching. Um, I wanted to watch more of this. I always say this every year. I want to watch more of the tournament. I want to watch more of the tournament. And it's just a lot of games and it's a lot of stuff to digest. And I feel like once you get to this part, this round of the national championship games, the Final Four, the Elite Eight, it's easier to digest. Um, and we'll talk about the next time we talk about these teams or these players even will be for the NBA draft or the WNBA draft, and we'll see what happens um, in the off season for some of these teams. There is the transfer portal now, and that's a huge topic, and I think we can delve into that after um, the national championship has finished, because I have some opinions on that. But I hope I did a good enough job breaking down this tournament, the remainder of this tournament. Um, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys on Monday. And on Monday, we'll have a women's championship, a women's champion, a national women's champion. That's crazy. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Cheers. Thank you for watching.